If you want to be consistently profitable, you will absolutely need a trading journal. Even better if it's backed by AI and data science. And I also provide you with a tool I've been working on for months, totally for free. It is a great starting point if you never journaled your trades in your life. I'm a money engineer, and with my master's in machine learning, I've helped traders get funded and get payouts using data science. So today I'll show you a practical example on how having a well-made trading journal can be a game changer in your trading and how you can form your own trading plan. It allowed me to recover from one loss I took and then make a profit on top of that, and also provide the MT4 screenshots of the trade I took. So usually right before my trading session, I like to just look at the charts and do a quick analysis. So you can see that currently on Nasdaq, we're very, very bullish. And then I like to have my different levels. So I can see there's one that's missing right there. But then the most important thing for me, because I'm a day trader, is that I'm looking at the previous days right before my trading session, but also the different trading sessions right before my trading time. So I'm looking at the Asian session, I'm looking at the London session, and then I'm also looking at what happened right before the 9:30 open. So you can see that the London session was overall bearish. So we opened at that point and we closed at that point. We had some whipsaw. So we swept the high of the Asian range. We also swept the highs of the yesterday's session. So when I'm looking at that, the first thing that I'll do is open up my journal, and then I'm trying to build the profile of this day. So I'm trying to look at all of the days that were looking exactly like this one. And you can start to understand how powerful this is, because price action usually behaves the same way. Of course, from one year to another, from one decade to another, it will be a little bit different. But if I'm able to find all of the days that behave just like this one, then I'll be able to predict my win rate for my setup. So what I like to do is I'll open up the journal specific for this strategy. So in this one, I have around 60 trades with a win rate of 50%. And this is always going for a 1 to 2. So you can see that already a win rate of 50% with a risk to reward of 1 to 2 is profitable. But as I said, I'll be looking at different features within my trading journal. And this is why it's so important to know how to build those kind of tools, because a trading journal only giving you the history of trades that you took, the day of the week, and the month is not at all what I'm talking about in this video. What my channel is about is I'm using my trading journal as a prediction tool to see how profitable my trading setup will be for that day. So I'm looking, for instance, of the break of structure, fair value gap, inverse fair value gap on different time frames. I'm looking at the market open, the midnight open, 8:30 open. I'm looking at the Asian range, London session, yesterday's session, and all of the other things. And if you want more details about that, you can just join us to be able to build a tool like this one. What I'll do is I'll use all of those features to find out all the trades which look similar to this one. So I'll use the Asian range, I'll use the yesterday's session, I'll use the liquidity levels, I'll use the breakout structure, the fair value gap that I'm seeing. I'll even use also the London session, the market open. And using those features, I'll be able to filter out those 57 trades into a subset of trades which had a profile similar to this one. So let me do that. All right, so I was able to find 14 trades which had a very similar price action, considering the yesterday's session, considering the current bullish trend on the daily. This is how I attack the trading session. I'm ready. I know that I'm currently in a high probability environment and I'm confident to take my trade. So let's just see what happened. So this is the 9:30 open. You can see the high volatility. I don't like to trade too close to this volatility. I prefer to just wait a little bit before taking any trades. But this is interesting what I'm seeing. So you can see this clear consolidation. And if you've been trading for some time, you know that liquidity is building above and below this consolidation. We also have the low of the day that was swept, and we saw an important reaction right there, breaking this high, this one, and we also left a fair value gap. So I didn't go over all of my rules, but currently this setup is fitting within my rules. But there's one issue with this one, is that we're very close to the 9:30 open. So what I did, I actually waited a little bit for price action to calm down, because the first 5 minutes are very hectic. There's a lot going on. So I just waited a little bit for price action to come down, and then I took my trade. And it was around this point that I decided to enter, because my trade was still valid, my low was not touched yet, and my targets were still intact. So I just went with this stop loss right there. Entry, I just market executed. And as I said, I'll show you the screenshots at the end. And then I was just aiming for all of the imbalances left going lower, because you can see that this was very one directional. So I was expecting some kind of pullback for the day. So currently, based on what the charts are showing me, I have a 57% win rate for this specific setup. You can see that those 14 trades were very similar to this specific setup. Let's just see how this one goes. So nice initial reaction. We're currently running at 1.1% in profit. Unfortunately, this went for a stop loss. So I know 100% some of you might be thinking, if that was me, I would have went break even at a 1-to-1. I would have went break even when I swept that high or when I reached 1.1% in profit. And if it's working for you, that's great. But for me personally, I'm not changing my trading plan because of the behavior of one of my trade. You need a big data sample to build a trading plan. I won't be changing my trading plan just because of this single trade. So I know for my trade management technique, the most optimal way, both in terms of return and win rate, is to never go break even and always go for a 1-to-2. And if you want to find out your best trade management for your own specific case, your own specific trading strategy, I built this tool right there. If you didn't grab it already, I talked about it in some of my previous videos. I'll have the link in the description so you can grab it for free. So you see that I have different techniques of taking profit and going break even. And you can see that taking profit at a 1-to-2 and never going break even gave me a 50% win rate with a return of 27%. There's also this one that's interesting of taking profit at a 1-to-2.5. But I decided to go with this one because it had a slightly higher win rate. But you can use the same trade management script to find out what's the best way for you to take profit. So I really suggest, if you didn't already start working on your trade management, to use this tool. Very, very powerful. So once I took this loss, I was still open to take a trade because personally, I have a rule that's allowing me 2 trades per day. If the first trade is a loss, then I'm allowed to take a second trade. Now that I have more price action that formed in front of me, I'm able to go back to my trading plan and enter right away what happened. So we saw that we're currently very bearish for the day. We had a sweep of this high right there. And we also reached for the yesterday's low. So considering all of this information, I went back to my trading journal and I entered those new information that I have in front of me, because I'm not at the same point as when I was at the open of the 930. I have new information in front of me. So I'm able to input those information in my trading journal and get a new win rate for my current setup. So let me just do that. All right, so I just did that. So out of my 57 trades, 7 of them had the very same profile as this trading day and as this trading setup. When I took a trade in those specific trading conditions, I had an 85% win rate. So I was very confident to go back on the chart and allow myself to take a second trade. So you saw that we just swept the yesterday's low. We have this inverse fair value gap that was formed, this one. We just broke above. We also had a new fair value gap that was formed also. So we had the break of the inverse fair value gap and the fair value gap right there. But I just decided to not risk missing an entry at the open of the fair value gap and enter right away. And once again, I'll show you the screenshots at the end. So I've put my stop loss right there, and then I went from my 1-to-2. And I have the confidence to go again. And this is the difference between an immature trader and someone that has experience. I took a trade this morning, but I didn't let it phase me. I'm still allowing myself to take a trade. But some people, after taking a trade, could lose confidence in their trading. And this is where your trading journal and your trading plan can be so powerful, because I'm actually seeing that this trading setup compared to the other one is much more high probability. So I didn't even hesitate 2 seconds to take this trade. Finally, we saw that we had a comeback to the fair value gap. So someone could have used this open of the fair value gap to enter the trade, but I didn't want to get missed for this one. Let's just see how this one goes. All right, so let me stop here because we just reached lunchtime and I have a point to say about that. Personally, I only trade from 9:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. However, I'm allowing myself to hold on my trades even during lunchtime. So if I open the trade during my trading session, but it didn't go to a stop loss or take profit, I won't be closing my trade, because a lot of time what we're seeing is price will wait for the lunchtime. You can see that currently it's very ranging. Not much is happening during lunchtime. So that's why I don't advise people to take trades during lunchtime. But holding on your trade is not a big issue. So once again, price went to a 1 to 1.4. Some good profits right there. But let's see if we reach the take profit. And we finally went to take profit. So you saw that if someone, once again, would have went break even once we reached a 1.4 or once we reached a 1.1, they probably would have been stopped at that break even at that point, because this week with the spread and everything could have maybe swept them. But personally, I held on my trade, and that's it. So you see how useful this can be in your trading. Imagine every morning knowing in advance the probability of your winning setup. And don't worry, if you don't have a paid journal like this one, I've built the exact same features within this Notion journal. And this is why I call this section the prediction section. So if you're interested to get access to those tools and a whole course on how to build an actual trading journal that can be helpful in your day-to-day trading, then apply in the link in the description. So I hope I was able to give you some value today and show you how important it is to build a trading plan and also have a trading journal for you. And if you want to see another perfect bread and butter setup that I took just last week, you can click on this video right there. See you soon.